like, how did you learn about the financial education? Because you said you bought your first rental property at 19.
Yeah. So this was at the bottom of the 2008 crash. You probably remember.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing this was from your working through college, right?
Yep. So I had some money put away, and I'm in Michigan, and Michigan was hit hard. Yeah. GM, Chrysler, and Ford are the biggest employers, and they were back then. GM went bankrupt, Chrysler went bankrupt, Ford was on the verge of bankruptcy. So Michigan was hit hard. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know any real estate investors. I didn't know what real estate investing was. I started reading business books, money books, and every book said wealthy people invest in real estate. I don't know what that meant, but I was like, okay, this sounds cool. Let me do that too. So now here I am. I'm 19. I'm studying for the medical college admission test, the MCAT. And, I read these books about real estate, and every time I take a break, I go into Yahoo Finance, and the top articles are always, real estate market is at rock bottom. I was like, okay, so what do I do about this? I was like, I want to do something. So I told my dad, it's like, Dad, I want to start investing in real estate. I was like, you're stupid. Go study, become a doctor. He didn't have any financial education. They wanted the best for me. And I was like, but I want to do this. So I started calling up different people, agents, and I was like, okay, I want to start looking at real estate. And I found this condo on sale, a 1,000 square foot condo, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, in a great location next to a lot of stores, a lot of businesses nearby. And it was on sale for $8,400. And I was like, oh, I didn't know anything better. I looked at some other properties, a $30,000 home, a $40,000 home. Like it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. So I saw it. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Doesn't need a lot of work. I put an offer for $4,000, and we started settling. They came down to $7,000. And then they said, there's another offer on the table. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to lose this property. So I made an offer for $8,000. I was like, I'll give you a little bit more. Kind of negotiated, and they accepted. So I bought the condo for $8,000, burned a few $1,000s worth of work, and I rented it out for $600. And now all of a sudden I'm in business. I'm like, wait, what is this? This is passive income. Like it took me a while to understand like the hang of things. Sure. I went through a lot of crap, but once I got the hang of it, I was like, wait, I'm making like a little bit of money here, and I don't got to really do anything. Like it's like I own the asset. The asset's paying me. Why was I never taught this? Why did our schools never teach us about investing? I was a good kid in school. Mm-hmm. I bust my butt. I checked all the boxes, but I never learned to think about passive income. I never learned to think about investing. I never learned to think about wealth. I never learned to think about financial freedom. What the heck am I doing in school? And everyone says, oh, you don't got to worry about money. Money doesn't matter. Don't think about the money. Just follow your passion. If money doesn't matter, then tell your boss not to pay you. Right? Like, it has some, like the reason why you're going to school is to become successful. That way you can be financially free. And the way for you to really not worry about money is if you're wealthy, that you don't really care about money. Because then, you've already become wealthy. And so that's kind of the real disconnect that made me really upset. And I was like, something's wrong here. There's a reason why so many people are broke. There's a reason why so many people are struggling with their money. It's because we are insecure about our money. We don't want to talk about it. And then we put up smoke screens. Don't worry about money. Don't talk about money. But I'm saying let's change that. How about we start talking about money? Let's get financially educated. And let's see how now we can take care of ourselves. We can take care of our families and our community by becoming wealthy ourselves. Because if you understand money, you can do a whole lot more. And you don't got to have all that sort of stress. Now, I agree, money isn't everything. It's one part of our lives. But if you don't have money, it can really impact the rest of your life.
Right.
So that's where it's like, that whole financial education importance really started hitting me there. Because I was like, this is so screwed up. The biggest liability for young people nowadays, millennials, is student loans, right? It's like student loans are what we are supposed to get in order to get educated so we can get a good job. But then I started looking more into that. And the number one asset for the United States government are student loans. I was like, well, something's not adding up here, because the government keeps talking about how student loans are a problem. We have the student loan crisis. Millennials cannot buy homes because student loans. Millennials cannot afford to build wealth because student loans. But at the same time, the government's saying it's our number one asset. It is the thing that is funding so many government operations. And now they're saying it's a problem. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's when I was like, you have to start doing your own education, and you need to start thinking outside of the box, right? That idea of thinking differently than the majority of people. And that's when I really started kind of going out of my way to learn things that the majority of people don't talk about, that we're not told to think about.
Kudos to you, man, for going on your own and finding a rental property without any like influence of your parents or anything. At the age of 19, while going to school, studying probably full time, while working and doing this insane like business that you were doing on the side, throwing parties. That's actually that's amazing. And also that $7,000 or $8,000 house. What was your like monthly mortgage payment on that? Like $60.
What a cash. What a cash.
Yeah.
Oh,
what are you getting a mortgage?
Mortgage on.
Oh yeah.
They would actually. I talked to the bank. I talked because I called up a bank. I was like, I want to get a mortgage. Like, how much is the home? $8,000. They were like,
yeah.
What they told me, I remember they were like, we can't give you a mortgage on a home unless it's at least 30 grand. And I was like, oh, okay.
Jack, consider this. Let's say 8 grand. He's gonna put down $1,000, and then on $7,000, let's just say this, he's gonna pay a $500 appraisal. He's gonna pay $500 to the title company. He's gonna pay so much money on the back end. I would say your expenses would be like $2,500.
My fault.
Just to
on a
close on the mortgage.
$7,000 mortgage.
I overlooked that. Yeah, that's so you were basically making what, $600 a month? You said
I rented out for $600, and half of that was profit.
You know what's crazy? I remember back then in Detroit, they were giving away the famous $1 homes.
Yeah,
and you could buy a home for $1. And believe it or not, they had such a difficult time even with that because people didn't want to fix up the home. So the stipulation was that you could buy a home for $1, but you had 5 years to fix it up. And it's gosh, I'm guessing it needed between probably $10,000 and $25,000 to fix them up.
At least,
right.
A lot of them were actually just full demolitions. You had to break down the home for it to be worth anything.
Yeah,
and that's where people were like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, these houses had like no copper piping. There were no fixtures. It was basically just a shell of a house, basically just the walls and a foundation that was probably cracked. But yeah, $1 to buy a house. So you'd be all in like 35 grand.
That's amazing. And what do you think those like dollar homes would be worth now?
Well, I bought a number of homes. So I started buying a number, and like I'll put it in perspective. I took my mom on some of these rental property tours, and these were $5,000 homes. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, it's disgusting! Don't buy this home." And those homes that were 5 are probably worth close to 100 now. Yeah. They probably needed like 15 worth of work, 10, 15. Like it was like a broken carpet. I mean, like dirty carpet, ugly walls. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the homes that I bought then are worth 5 to 10x what I bought them for, which is just, I mean, it's insane. Like, cause I didn't really know what I was doing. I was fortunate regarding the time, like when I started buying, but like, yeah, I made a ton of mistakes. I made a lot of screw ups, but you know, that's how you learn.
Detroit was one of the areas that was so hard hit. It was the hardest hit, I think, anywhere in the U.S. Yeah. I think Florida, I think Miami was like the other place, but Detroit was the hardest hit area in the U.S. And I remember back then that a lot of people thought Detroit would never come back because they thought, well, if Ford goes out of business, these car companies, that was the entire job market basically just was decimated. Yeah, and they're thinking, who's ever going to come to Detroit anymore? What's the appeal? It got so bad. And properties were foreclosed on for years, like 5 years. Yeah. And we're just in such disrepair that people were like,
the city went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Detroit went bankrupt. Yeah. It was nuts, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's unfortunate, all the stuff that people went through, the things that the people of Detroit, all the crap that they went through. The school system still is going through a lot of problems.
Even now. So I visited with Kevin, I think it was 3 years ago. And even then, I mean, there's some parts that just have not recovered.
Yeah.
There was a proper house fire.
Yes.
That someone lit on their own, right?
Multiple houses. So we went to, we were driving down the freeway, and we literally see this, like, fume of smoke that's piling up. And Kevin's like, we should go and see what that is. And so we drive down there, and sure enough, it's this house that's on fire. Like, and I'd never seen a house on fire before where like there's actually flames coming out of the roof and everything, and it's nuts. And we got there before the fire truck or anything got there, and so Kevin's talking to the neighbors. I'm like, we just watch from the car, see what's going on. Now this is an empty house, by the way, so this is not like someone's house that was burned down. It was in this community of maybe 100 houses, and I want to say probably 80% of them were vacant.
Wow, yeah.
Nobody there. But sure enough, Kevin starts talking to people, and they say, "Oh yeah, no, this is another one. This day we have someone around here who's bored, and they go and just burn down these houses." And so we're like, "What?
That's horrible."
It's like that's their. So anyway, this house is burning down, and meanwhile, a house like 5 houses away starts going up in flames as well. We're like,
and you saw this all happening?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
It's all on video.
It's all on video. And so then the fire truck gets there. They're putting out this house. The other house starts going up in flames. So then they call for more, and they start going the other house. And then about 30 minutes later, another house burns down. And again, they're all vacant houses, and they're all in disrepair. So then Kevin starts talking to the people, and they say, yeah, it's probably someone who's watching right now, because this seems to be a common occurrence where people will be bored, they'll burn down a house, and then they'll watch the fire get put out, basically. Now, I'm looking at some of these houses and thinking, well, you know, for the owner, if they have insurance on the house, I mean, they'll be able to rebuild it. And a lot of these, I think, were at the point where it would be hard to salvage. Yeah, probably. So they'd have to be torn down.
It was actually a common problem where people would their homes would get burned down for the insurance claim. It was a big problem because that's the only way people were able to get money in some instances, and people were doing that, and it became a huge scandal, and it was a big thing, man. It was horrible.
If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. These are things that you can start doing even if you don't have a lot of money. So if you want to read this free guide on how to start generating passive income for free, all you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.